wish things were different.
Never look back, Lawrence. Never look back.
Number 10, Sleepy Hollow, $70 million.
There is a town upstate, 2 days' journey to the north in the Hudson Highlands. It is a place called Sleepy Hollow.
If the initial plan for production had taken place, this film would have missed making our list by many millions of dollars. The first Sleepy Hollow budget came in at $30 million, with the production planning to shoot on location somewhere. However, they couldn't find a location in the United States that worked, so they decided to head across the pond to the UK to find one.
Well, come, sir, we'll get you settled. Play on.
But to quote producer Adam Schroeder, quote, "We came to England figuring we would find a perfect little town, and then we had to build it anyway. It was all that building that ballooned the budget from $30 million to at least $70 million, with some estimates putting it even higher."
Will you take nothing from Sleepy Hollow that was worth the coming here?
No, not nothing.
Number 9, The Haunting, $80 million.
No one lives any nearer than town. No one will come any nearer than that. In the night. In the dark.
Starring Liam Neeson, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Owen Wilson, and Lily Taylor, The Haunting was definitely not lacking for star power. And director Jan de Bont had made some very successful films in the past, including Twister and Speed. So the studio probably began the process feeling at least somewhat confident dropping $80 million to make it.
Small price to pay for such savage kicks.
Unfortunately, the film didn't feature any tornadoes or runaway buses. Although the vast majority of audiences and critics didn't like it, enough people paid to see the film in theaters. The Haunting ended up turning a profit, raking in over $180 million worldwide.
I'm not making this stuff up. I know you all think I'm crazy or doing this for attention. I'm not.
Number 8, Hannibal, $87 million.
Is this coincidence? Or are you back on the case? If so, goody goody. Because I need to come out of retirement and return to public life.
In 1991, The Silence of the Lambs was a huge financial and critical success. The film raked in over $250 million at the box office and took home 5 major Academy Awards, including Best Actor, Actress, Adapted Screenplay, Director, and Picture. And they did it all with a budget of only $19 million. 10 years later, they made a sequel, Hannibal, and gave director Ridley Scott and his team a budget of $87 million. The film was not a critical success and didn't earn a single Oscar nomination.
This is much less grand a case, I would think.
Well, if I thought of my work in those terms, yes, I guess I'd agree.
But it did make over $350 million worldwide, becoming the 10th highest grossing film of 2001.
Good evening, Clarice. Just like old times.
Shut up.
Number 7, Hollow Man, $95 million.
Any last words?
Yeah. If I die, pretend I said something deep and clever.
With a budget of $95 million and a less than positive critical response, it might sound odd to say that the filmmakers behind Hollow Man spent the money wisely, but they did.
You know what, Matt? It's amazing what you can do when you don't have to look at yourself in the mirror anymore.
The film made about $190 million worldwide, almost exactly double its budget. Of that big budget, $50 million was allocated to the film's special effects, and it shows. And regardless of the negative things most critics had to say about the film, the special effects were generally very highly praised.
And you know what the sad part about it is? Is that I have this gift and I can't even use it.
So now it's a gift.
So much so that the film picked up a visual effects Oscar nomination, ultimately losing to Gladiator. Number 6, End of Days, $100 million.
What you've done!
Get down or I'll put you down!
For most of the 80s and 90s, Arnold Schwarzenegger was one of the biggest movie stars in Hollywood. So putting him in a $100 million supernatural action horror film and paying him $25 million of that budget might have seemed like a good idea at the time.
For your own good, get out and forget what you've seen.
Is Thomas part of
There
all
are
this?
forces here at work you couldn't possibly comprehend. Now please leave.
Even though, fun fact, the role was written for Tom Cruise, who turned it down to make Magnolia instead. And if you just look at the final worldwide gross of over $212 million, it would appear that everything turned out okay. However, almost $150 million of that gross came internationally, and the film was critically panned. There are also those who mark the film as the end of Arnold's guaranteed bankable star status.
I want you to go to hell.
Number 5. What Lies Beneath? $100 million.
What are you afraid of?
One day I'll just disappear.
Is their house haunted by a ghost, or is Michelle Pfeiffer losing her mind? That's the question being asked in What Lies Beneath. To answer that question, director Robert Zemeckis spent $100 million, which is a lot of money, especially for a more adult-oriented horror drama film.
Jody and I had a seance in the bathroom, and Jody and I, and nothing happened, but when I went back there, she was there, she was.
But despite mixed reviews from the critics, audiences liked the film. The movie only got a mid-level score on Rotten Tomatoes, but received a B+ in a CinemaScore audience poll. What Lies Beneath earned a satisfying $291 million worldwide and was the 10th highest grossing film of 2000.
I think she's starting to suspect something. Your wife.
Number 4. Prometheus. $120 to $130 million.
My company paid $1 trillion to find this place and to bring you here. Had you raised the monies yourself, Mr. Holloway, we'd happily be pursuing your agenda.
Some of the high price tags on this list might come as a surprise to fans. And then there are films like Prometheus. Its $120 to $130 million budget, while huge, probably won't shock most filmgoers.
Why do you think your people made me?
We made you because we could.
Spaceships, visual effects, alien creatures, distant moons. The money, as they say, is on the screen. And if you thought filming in 3D was a huge added cost, the truth is, doing so only added about $10 million to the budget. The film was generally well received by critics and audiences, at least upon release. While the reception has grown more bitter with time, the film easily made back its money, grossing over $400 million worldwide.
They made it here. They got out. It turned on them. The end. It's time for us to go home.
Number 3. The Wolfman. $150 million.
You were not bitten by a werewolf. You will not become a werewolf. Any more than I will sprout wings and fly out of that window.
A few weeks prior to the start of filming, director Mark Romanek and Universal Studios parted ways over creative and budgetary differences. That's when Joe Johnston was hired to make the movie, with the understanding that he could do it in the 80 days, and with the $85 million budget the studio was ready to give him. But as is often the case with filmmaking, things did not go exactly as planned. Reshoots took them well past the 80-day mark, and in the end, the budget almost doubled to $150 million. The film opened on Valentine's Day weekend, but the audience never showed the Wolfman much love, and the movie was not able to make back its inflated budget.
I wish things were different.
Never look back, Lawrence. Never look back. The past is a wilderness of horrors.
Number 2. Van Helsing. $160 to $170 million.
You're a big one. You'll be hard to digest.
I'd hate to be such a nuisance.
Usually a film would be considered successful if it makes $120 million at the North American box office. However, Van Helsing was not a usually situation. With a budget of at least $160 million, the film was, in 2004, among the 10 most expensive movies ever made.
I'm sure this is some sort of sin. Don't worry, God will forgive us.
For all of you doing some quick math, yes, Van Helsing fell $40 million short of just breaking even at the domestic box office. But thankfully for the studio, this Monster Hunter film was able to hunt down an international audience and bring in an additional $180 million around the world.
His name is Van Helsing. Your reputation precedes you.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. It Chapter 2, $79 million. It wasn't as big a hit as It was, but it still made 6 times its budget.
I know what you are. A madman.
Signs, $72 million. All signs pointed to the film being a hit. Alien Resurrection, $70 million. This fourth film in the Alien franchise got a bigger budget than the previous 3 movies had.
You're an autot. Robots designed by robots, right?
Gremlins 2, The New Batch, $50 million. Don't feed them after midnight or spend so much on a sequel. It only made $41 million.
Creature, what is it that you want?
Fred, what we want is, I think, what everyone wants and what you and your viewers have. Civilization.
The Ring, $48 million. It rung up a hefty $249 million around the world. Number 1, World War Z, $190 to $269 million.
They sealed off their entire country days before the undead attacked man. First to know, first to act.
The film's initial budget of $125 million would have found it high on the list, but rewrites and 7 weeks of reshoots pushed the budget to, at least, $190 million, and pushed World War Z to number 1 on our list. Normally, ballooning budgets and last-minute reshoots and rewrites are not good signs for a film's future success.
I'm running out of time. I need specifics. I need answers.
I don't have answers. All you can do is find a way to hide.
But this Brad Pitt film ended up snatching $540 million from the worldwide box office and becoming the highest-grossing zombie movie of all time. It also stands as Pitt's highest-grossing film as a lead.
Be prepared for anything.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.